The idyllic image of the Mediterranean summer has been shattered. On date, Israeli warplanes pierced the skies above Lebanon, unleashing a barrage of airstrikes. Targets were spread across the country, from the bustling streets of Beirut to the Bekaa Valley. The roar of explosions echoed through the mountains, a terrifying symphony of destruction. This is not the first time the region has tasted the bitterness of conflict. However, the scale and ferocity of these recent attacks have sent shockwaves across the world. Initial reports from the Lebanese Ministry of Health paint a grim picture. The death toll continues to climb, with hundreds of civilians feared dead and many more injured. Hospitals, already strained by years of economic hardship, are overwhelmed with casualties. The air is thick with the smell of smoke and the cries of the wounded. The world watches with bated breath, wondering what sparked this latest eruption of violence. Israel claims the airstrikes are a response to provocations by Hezbollah. They point to rocket attacks launched from Lebanese territory into Israel, a clear violation of their sovereignty. Hezbollah, the powerful Shia militant group and political party, wields significant influence in Lebanon. Their entangled history with Israel is long and bloody, marked by cycles of violence and retribution. While Israel insists it is targeting Hezbollah strongholds, the collateral damage is undeniable. Homes lie in ruins, schools are reduced to rubble, and hospitals struggle to function. The human cost of this conflict is immeasurable, with families torn apart and lives forever scarred by the horrors of war. The world braces itself for what promises to be a dark chapter in the ongoing Israeli-Hezbollah conflict. The aftermath of the Israeli airstrikes was met with a swift and expected response. Hezbollah, vowing revenge for the blood spilled on Lebanese soil, unleashed a barrage of rockets into northern Israel. Sirens wailed across towns and cities, sending residents scrambling for bomb shelters. The night sky, once illuminated by fireworks celebrating the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, was now streaked with the fiery trails of rockets. While the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, confirmed that the Iron Dome missile defense system intercepted a significant number of projectiles, some rockets managed to penetrate, striking civilian areas. Reports emerged of damage to homes and businesses, painting a picture of fear and disruption in the heart of Israel. The wail of ambulances joined the chorus of sirens, a stark reminder of the human cost of this escalating conflict. This tit-for-tat exchange is a grimly familiar pattern in the tumultuous relationship between Israel and Hezbollah. Each act of aggression only serves to deepen the cycle of violence, fueling a spiral of hatred and retribution. This latest escalation has shattered any semblance of normalcy for those caught in the crossfire. The specter of the 2006 Lebanon War, which saw a month of intense fighting between Israel and Hezbollah, now looms large. Memories of that bloody summer, etched in the minds of both Israelis and Lebanese, are a stark warning of the potential for this conflict to escalate. The international community watches with growing concern, urging both sides to show restraint and prevent a slide into further bloodshed. The deafening roar of explosions in Lebanon and the chilling wail of sirens in Israel have reverberated across the globe. World leaders from Washington to Moscow have voiced their alarm and condemned the escalating violence. The United Nations Security Council convened for an emergency meeting, the gravity of the situation etched on the faces of diplomats. A chorus of calls for restraint and de-escalation has emerged from the international community. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, has expressed its unwavering support for its right to defend itself, while urging both sides to exercise restraint. France, deeply invested in Lebanon's stability, has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities and a return to dialogue. The European Union has echoed these sentiments, expressing deep concern about the humanitarian impact of the conflict. Russia, with its complex relationships in the region, has urged all parties to show restraint and seek a peaceful resolution through diplomatic channels. The Arab League, often divided on regional issues, has found common ground in condemning the violence and calling for an end to the bloodshed. However, beyond the pronouncements and condemnations, the international community faces a difficult task. Mediating a ceasefire between two sides deeply entrenched in their positions, with a long and bloody history, will require deft diplomacy and unwavering commitment. The world waits with bated breath, hoping that reason will prevail over the drums of war. Amidst the rubble, a humanitarian crisis grips Lebanon. As the echoes of explosions fade and the dust settles, a stark reality emerges. The human cost of this latest conflict is immeasurable, with each passing hour revealing a deeper humanitarian crisis. Hospitals already stretched thin by years of economic hardship and the COVID-19 pandemic are now overwhelmed with casualties. The injured, many with severe burns and shrapnel wounds, lie on makeshift beds in crowded hallways. Medical supplies are running dangerously low, and the constant threat of further airstrikes hangs heavy in the air. Doctors and nurses, working tirelessly around the clock, are forced to make unimaginable choices in the face of overwhelming need. Beyond the immediate casualties, the conflict has exacerbated an already dire humanitarian situation in Lebanon. The country has been grappling with a crippling economic crisis, with soaring inflation and widespread unemployment. The Lebanese pound has plummeted in value, leaving many struggling to afford basic necessities. The destruction of critical infrastructure, including power plants and water treatment facilities, has further compounded the suffering. Thousands of families have been displaced from their homes, seeking refuge in schools, mosques, and churches. The specter of a humanitarian catastrophe looms large, a stark reminder of the devastating toll of conflict on innocent civilians. The Iranian shadow regional implications and the specter of wider war. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah, while seemingly contained within a relatively small geographic area, casts a long shadow over the entire Middle East. The involvement of Iran, Hezbollah's primary benefactor and a staunch adversary of Israel, adds a dangerous layer of complexity to the situation. Iran has condemned the Israeli airstrikes in the strongest possible terms, vowing to stand by its Hezbollah allies. The Islamic Republic, long accused by Israel and the West of supporting terrorist groups and seeking regional hegemony, views the conflict as part of a broader struggle against Israeli aggression. This dynamic raises the specter of a wider regional conflagration. Israel has made it clear that it considers Hezbollah's actions to be inseparable from Iran's support, and has not ruled out striking Iranian targets if deemed necessary. Such a move would have potentially catastrophic consequences, drawing in other regional actors and igniting a conflagration that could engulf the entire Middle East. The international community is acutely aware of the risks posed by Iranian involvement. The United States, while focused on de-escalating the immediate crisis, has reaffirmed its commitment to preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons and curbing its destabilizing activities in the region. The situation remains highly volatile, and any miscalculation or escalation could have far-reaching consequences. The world watches with bated breath, hoping that cooler heads will prevail and prevent a regional conflagration. A delicate balance. The United States navigates a diplomatic tightrope. The Biden administration finds itself navigating a treacherous diplomatic tightrope as it seeks to manage the escalating conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel and a key player in the Middle East, faces the delicate task of balancing its support for its strategic partner with the need to prevent a wider regional conflagration. On the one hand, the United States has reiterated its unwavering commitment to Israel's security and its right to defend itself against attacks. The Biden administration has condemned Hezbollah's rocket attacks on Israeli civilians and expressed its understanding of Israel's need to take action against the militant group. On the other hand, the United States is acutely aware of the risks of escalation and the potential for the conflict to spiral out of control. The Biden administration has urged both sides to exercise restraint, avoid civilian casualties, and seek a peaceful resolution through diplomatic channels. The United States has also engaged in intensive diplomatic efforts with regional partners, including Egypt, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, to try to de-escalate the situation. These countries, while not always aligned with American interests, share a common interest in preventing a wider conflict that could have devastating consequences for the entire region. The Biden administration faces a complex and rapidly evolving situation with no easy solutions. Balancing its commitment to Israel's security with the need to prevent a wider war will require deft diplomacy, strategic patience, and a clear understanding of the regional dynamics at play. The world watches closely, hoping that American leadership can help steer the region away from the brink.